Okay, so let's start with today's session. And after my emphasis on practice, practice, and practice, right, which is very important in passing an exam, and in order to obtain grip, we'll be doing 4 types of exam tips first. So one of the part of our today's session is exam tips sessions, right? Strategies to effectively easily pass the exam. Plus, after this exam tip session, I'll be starting a question which has been picked from past exam. It has been picked from September-December attempt. It's a performance measurement question, which I'll be attempting and solving with you people on this Zoom app. So let's start with this exam tip session. The 4 of the tips I'm going to give you today are, first of all, I'll be discussing the time management. You can see the 4 branches over here. I'll be discussing the time management in a PM exam. And then I'll be discussing the topics which you must prepare before entering a PM exam. At least you should do these 30 topics, which I will tell you which ones in a short while. So I'll be telling you the must-do topics. So if you do these 30 topics very well, right, and you have a grip on these, your passing chances improve very much. Then I'll be giving you guidelines on attempting the section C question, the constructive type questions, the questions which you have to construct the answer, right? So section C, you have 20-mark questions, 2 20-mark questions, which you will be constructing the answer. So how should they be solved in order to get more marks from there and score well? Okay, so attempting section C questions score well in each of the 2 questions. In a PM exam. And then last but not the least, we'll be discussing some general guidelines, general preparation guidelines to success in a PM exam. Okay, now let's start with the time management session. Now, time management is very important. You should not go very fast and make mistakes. If you hurry up in an exam, you miss some requirements, some facts, some information, which is in the question, right? And ultimately, the question either goes wrong or it remains incomplete. So in order to maintain accuracy, in order to maintain completeness of your answers, you need to be steady, but not very fast. You don't need to hurry. Keep your thinking process on, right? Remember, you have to get 50 marks to pass, right? So our first target should be 50 marks, not 100 marks, right? Now, if you know very well, you are accurate, you can score 100. But in beginning, right, start working steadily, right? Start working with cool minds, with peaceful mind. Keep on doing your questions one by one. Keep on moving ahead, right? And you will be able to catch the speed yourself once you keep going, right? So in beginning, you have to keep the gears in the first gear, second gear, you drive slow, right? So first of all, slowly start, gradually start the exam, right? And once you keep on doing things, doing well, you will yourself build up the speed, right? And in the end, you'll be very fast. You'll be very fast in the exam. And obviously, the first 1 hour of the exam may be uh, a little bit slow, and you'll be doing some less number of questions. But in the second hour and in the third hour, you are very fast. You're doing too much. You're getting too many marks. So don't worry. Be slow in beginning. Keep your self alert, right? Start doing things correctly and observe the questions properly, read them properly, and answer accurately, right? So this is the basic theme. So now, keeping this tip in mind towards accuracy and success, right? I'm giving some more tips regarding some specific tips regarding the timeline, right? So now I'm giving you 4 tips on this time management. And the 3 of the tips are how much time you should take in section A, in which you'll be solving 15 questions. Each question will be from a different topic. And then section B, how much time should be taken over there, where you'll be solving further 15 questions, but there will be 3 main questions, and each question will carry 3 further questions. The total 15, but there will be 3 case type questions, right? Okay, now the third section, in which you will be doing constructive type questions, you'll be constructing the answer. You'll be getting 2 questions over there. So that will be the third one, the third section. And then what you will be doing in the end once you complete with the exam. So 4 things I'm going to tell you first. Okay, now let's talk about number 1. According to me, you should start with section A first, because it's a multiple choice question, right? You will gradually keep on switching to the second, third, fourth question, gradually keep on moving ahead. And if you know the question very well, do it. Otherwise, if you feel that you cannot do this question, you do not know anything about it, right? Or you are doubtful about it, just flag it, come back by the end of the exam, and then complete that question, right? So keep on moving one by one. Do the first question if you know it well. Otherwise, move on to the second. If you know it well, do it. Then go to third question. If you don't know well, just switch on to the next question, right? Okay. And flag it. But just remember to flag it so that you come back and solve it. So remember one thing, there is no negative marking. So no question should be left blank. No question should remain unattempted, right? You must answer each and every question, right? Even if you don't know, make a guess, right? In the end. But first, try to attempt those questions which you know well, so that you start scoring marks. And remember, if you are an average student, you have worked well, once you complete 1.5 hour or 2 hours of the exam, you would have passed. Because if you attempt right questions first, right, and you give correct answers to those questions, so obviously it's a 100-mark question and 3-hour time is allowed. So within 1.5 hour or 2 hours, you should pass, right? Pass the exam. So in the end, the later third hour of the question of the exam session, you will be doing only those portions of the question which you don't know well, right? So in the beginning, you would have done the good ones, right? And suppose you know all, then obviously in 1.5 hours you would have attempted all the questions, right? And you would have done it correctly, and you would have scored the desired marks. And in the later 1.5 hour portion, you'll be doing the remaining questions very good, and you will be scoring well over there also, right? So remember, give first preference to the questions that you know well. Don't waste your time in those questions where you know you are doubtful, you're not sure, you're uncertain. Leave it. Leave it for the end of the exam. You may get some time in the end, right? And in the end, just take 5 or 10 minutes to solve those questions which you have not attempted. Make a guess or so, or try to do it in the end, right? Okay, now the time management, the first thing in section A, you will be starting with section A. Take 5 or 10 minutes to just go through the exam in the beginning, and then start with section A. Okay, try to do and complete section A in around 45 minutes. So start with section A and try to complete in approx 45 minutes, right? And then move on to the section B. Take approx 45 minutes over here as well, right? And then 1.5 hour of your exam session would have been gone. Probably 5 or 10 more minutes of your exam would have been gone, right? So now you are in the second half of your exam, the 1.5 hour, the later part of your exam. And in that portion, you will be solving section C. Okay, now how much time to take over here? Take approx 35 minutes to solve each question. Try to do it in 35 minutes, right? And you will be able to do it in 35 minutes because it's a mix of calculations and narrative questions, right? And the narrative questions are usually taking lesser time compared to the numeric questions, right? In numeric questions, you will be taking more time because you have to think, you have to use the calculators, you have to use the formulae. So it takes some time. But in narratives, you are writing very fast, right? And that takes lesser time. So usually it's a mix. So you will be able to do it in 35 minutes, and in total, you will be taking around 70 minutes. Now, if you count all of the minutes till now, how many minutes you have used? So 45 minutes for section A, 45 for the section B, and 70 minutes for section C. So in all, you have used how many minutes? 160 minutes gone. Now you are left with approx 20 minutes. 20 minutes available हैं आपके पास, right? And in these 20 minutes, what you will be doing? So remember I said, always go for those questions first, which you know very well. So you would have done all the questions with which you were comfortable in the beginning. And now, in the end, some questions are left. वो आपने फ्लैग किए हुए होंगे, राइट? सो अब जो क्वेश्चंस आपने फ्लैग किए हुए हैं उसको आप क्या करें, यहाँ पे अटेम्प्ट करना शुरू करें इस पॉइंट पे। और अगर आपको नहीं भी आते वो क्वेश्चंस, राइट, तो उस सूरत में क्या करें कि आप उसको एटलीस्ट गेस करें, क्योंकि यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू लूज एनी मार्क्स even if the answer goes wrong, because there is no negative marking. But suppose if it gets right, then what? You get some easy marks. So try to get those marks, right? And mark the option, select the choices, write the answers intelligently, right? Be smart. So you are left with approx 20 minutes in the end if you use the above scheme as I've mentioned for section A, B, and C. And you will be, what you'll be doing? Do the missed, the flagged questions. During this time, and revise your answers. So these 20 minutes you'll be using to revision, to revise your answers, and to do the missed questions. So this was the time management part of your exam, right? Now, the must do 30 topics. The must do 30 topics, which topics you must do when preparing a PM exam. Let me mention 30 topics first. Do these topics properly, inshallah you'll be able to get through the exam, right? But just you need to be having, you need to get grip over these 30 topics, right? I'll be mentioning these 30 topics, but let me first tell you the sections. All these topics are from various sections in your exam, and now they are coming on your screen. These are the 30 topics which you must prepare for. Let me pick this up, paste it over here. Now, which topic you must do? These are the 30 most important topics. So usually your questions in exams mainly focus on these areas, right? So obviously there can be areas other than these, but mainly these are the focused areas by an examiner, right? So the topics are relevant costing, okay. So the topics are relevant costing, products mix decisions, limiting factors, where you rank the products first and then रैंकिंग के हिसाब से फिर हम जो है वो प्रोडक्शन करते हैं। आखिर में कौन सा प्रोडक्ट रह जाता है जिसका कंट्रीब्यूशन पर आर या कंट्रीब्यूशन पर लिमिटिंग फैक्टर इज द लोएस्ट, राइट? सो प्रॉफिट मैक्सिमाइजेशन करते हैं। प्राइसिंग मेथड्स, देन ऑप्टिमल प्राइस, calculation of optimal price, where when using demand based pricing, where will be the optimal price, the profit maximizing price. So the point where marginal cost equals to marginal revenue, the price will be the optimal one. it will be the best price giving you the highest level of profit. Obviously, the businesses want the highest profits. The profit maximizing is the objective. Then expected value and decision trees. This is covered in the risk and uncertainty, maximax, maximin, and minimax regret rule. Then make or buy decisions. Linear programming is used when there are multiple limiting factors. Shadow price and slack is important. Please focus on it. Cost volume profit analysis. Please do cover multi-product break-even analysis, margin of safety, target profits. Cover these areas. These are very frequently asked topics. Then you should know the types of budgets, how to make these types of budgets: flexible, zero-based, incremental, rolling, activity-based budgets. Then you should know time series analysis to forecast the sales, regression analysis to forecast cost, learning curve technique, very important, very, very important. Sensitivity analysis, mix and yield variances, this comes under the budget section. Then sales mix and quantity variances, planning and operational variances, reasoning for the variances, financial performance ratios. This is covered in performance measurement. Then along with the financial performance, you should cover non-financial performance as well. Special emphasis on building block model and balance scorecard. Balance scorecard is also very frequently asked question. Then divisional performance and residual income, return on investment, investment transfer pricing is very important. Investment centers ज्यादा पूछा जाता है डिविजन परफॉर्मेंस में, राइट. इसके बाद नॉट फॉर प्रॉफिट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस एंड पब्लिक सेक्टर एम्फोसिस. तो ये ध्यान में रखेंगे, लोग जो है ना वो प्राइवेट सेक्टर ज्यादा पढ़ के जाते हैं. वो लोग पब्लिक सेक्टर यानी गवर्नमेंट की जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है उनकी परफॉर्मेंस और नॉट फॉर प्रॉफिट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की परफॉर्मेंस को ज्यादा फोकस नहीं करते. तो जस्ट गिव सम टाइम टू नॉट फॉर प्रॉफिट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड पब्लिक सेक्टर एज वेल, क्योंकि आपने देखे होंगे पास में कुछ क्वेश्चंस ऐसे आए जो हॉस्पिटल्स के आए क्वेश्चंस जो नॉट फॉर प्रॉफिट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैं, ठीक है ना. तो अल्टीमेटली उसमें फिर आपको जो है वो थोड़ी डेफिशिएंसी फेस करनी पड़ती है, यू लूज इजी मार्क्स. सो डू फाइनेंशियल परफॉर्मेंस एज वेल. फाइनेंशियल परफॉर्मेंस में वैसे ही हम लोग अच्छे होते हैं, लेकिन नॉट फॉर प्रॉफिट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन और पब्लिक सेक्टर को थोड़ा देख लें कि उनके ऑब्जेक्टिव्स क्या हैं और क्या प्रॉब्लम्स फेस करने पड़ता है, राइट. इसके बाद वैल्यू फॉर मनी, ये भी अक्सर पूछा गया है. द 3 E's, वैल्यू फॉर मनी, द इकोनॉमी, एफिशिएंसी एंड इफेक्टिवनेस, इनकी डेफिनेशंस याद करें. और हाउ टू कैलकुलेट, हाउ टू assess that economy is present or not, efficiency is present or not, effectiveness is present or not. You should be able to do that. Then target cost and cost gaps, ये स्पेशलिस्ट कॉस्ट अकाउंटिंग टेक्निक्स में आ गया. Do ABC, cost drivers and cost pools. Life cycle costing is important, its application and advantages. Then throughput, calculating throughput, return per hour, bottleneck resources, these are important. Sustainability, environment accounting, internet's use, big data, data analytics, various types of management information systems and benefits of information systems. So these are the 30 topics in my opinion, which if you do properly, you can get through, right? But obviously you should complete your syllabus. You must complete your syllabus. You should not take risk. But in case you have a time deficiency, right? And just to make a list, so एक लिस्ट बनाने के लिए कि ये टॉपिक्स तो एटलीस्ट हमारी नॉलेज में होने चाहिए, राइट. जी, ओके. So now let's move on to, so we were talking on 4 strategies. One, time management strategy. Second, the important topics to be covered. And now the third strategy is on how to attempt the section C. So a lot of people usually face how to attempt section C, and they want to know techniques about how to attempt those questions, right? So remember, there are 2 types of requirements in this section C. 2 किस्म की requirements आ रही हैं. एक narrative questions आ रहे हैं और एक आपके पास न्यूमेरिक क्वेश्चंस आते हैं सॉल्व करने के लिए, यानी नंबर वर्क करना होता है, कैलकुलेशंस. यू हैव टू डू कैलकुलेशंस, दोज आर द न्यूमेरिक. एंड देन यू हैव टू राइट द थ्योरी वर्क, द डिस्क्रिप्टिव आंसर्स. यू हैव टू राइट कमेंट्स, you have to write suggestions, you have to write the analysis. That part, that's known as narrative, right? So 2 types of requirements will be facing over there in the section C, the constructive type question. the narrative questions. So the questions that require narrations, writing paragraphs, writing sentences, and the question that require or that involve numericals. Now, let me tell you some general techniques about narrative questions, right? So I'll be telling you four tips. First of all, four main tips regarding the narrative questions. So when writing narrative answers, what should be okay? Please give me a while. Okay, let's talk about the narratives. The first tip is when you are writing an answer to a narrative question, suppose they've asked you to analyze a situation. They've asked you to give reasons for a variance. They've asked you to assess the financial performance or non-financial performance of a hospital, of a suppose bakery, right? So when writing the answer, or they have asked you to give the advantages or disadvantages, so remember one thing: be scenarios. Try to write according to the scenario, according to the situation, the case study which has been asked to you, right? So now remember one thing: stick to the scenario and try to make or write your answer according, don't write general, write according to the question, what they are asking about, right? For example, you should use the name of the business you are talking about. You should name their products, right? You should highlight the facts from the question. Like, for example, in a situation, the sales in the industry was falling, due to which the individual business was also losing some sales. So how should we write? As per question, the industrial sales is falling, due to which the business would have lost sales, right? So now this gets in line with the situation of what's appearing in the question, because sometimes the industry sales would have been increasing, but the business will be losing the sales, right? So what should be written in that case? So you will be telling that as the business should improve sales along with the increasing industry sales, the business have failed to do so. So that indicates a poor performance, right? So they are losing their market. So now what happens, that the examiner knows that you're writing according to the situation given in the question, right? So don't write generally. Don't write the memorized answer. Obviously, you will be using the concepts which you have already learned in past, right? But link it to the scenario. Okay, now stick to the scenario and try to write your answer according to the circumstances given in the question. Now, this cannot happen. This cannot happen until you read the question properly. So the most important thing is read and observe the information and events given in the question, and then stick to the scenario. So this is what required in a narrative question. So if you stick to the scenario and write with common sense, right, you don't need to learn everything. You will be able to adjust yourself in the exam. Just remember, you have to write according to the situation. Number one. Secondly, when you write according to the scenario, remember one thing: do not write too much on any one point. Rather, go for many points. Write many points on the situation and write short on each situation, right? So don't go in too much details. Rather, write too many points and write short answers, right? Write short sentences, write less against each point, right? So what's the tip over here? The tip is do not write too much on any one point. Rather, write short but mention many points. So by mentioning many points, you're able to get more marks. Sometimes what happens that there is a 4-mark question and you have to write 4 points, but you are writing too much on 1 point only. You write a whole page on 1 point. So if there are 4 possible answers, you'll be getting just 1 mark because you have disclosed only 1 point over there. Suppose 4 of the points were required, 4 different situations you were required to give over there, 4 different reasoning you were required to give. So you're writing just on one reason. You won't be able to get 4 marks. So it's better to go for many points rather than writing only 1 point. But do see what are the marks being awarded in a particular question, right? So also see that write according to the marks mentioned against each requirement. Okay, now when drafting the answer, check. Obviously, they mention marks against each requirement. So write your answers according to those marks. If you write more, what happens that you will be missing some uh, requirements or some questions in the end, and you will not be able to complete the exam in the given time. So it's better that you judge that how much should be written, write short, write more points, right? Acha, further, sometimes you are doubtful about the answer. So what happens? Writing more points will let you get some marks. But if you stick to a very few points and they get wrong, then what? You'll be getting less marks. So try to go for more points, right? So you'll be covered more diversified points, and you'll be getting more marks. So the chances of losing marks reduces. Now, the next point is when you're writing the paragraphs, आंसर्स जब आप लिख रहे होते हैं छोटे छोटे सेंटेंसेस लिखें. ट्राई टू राइट स्मॉल सेंटेंसेस. बड़े बड़े सेंटेंस मत लिखें. What happens that when you get engaged in writing very big sentences, you forget that what you written earlier, right? So try to go for small sentences. छोटे points लिखें. इससे क्या होता है कि आपको आपके आंसर आपके कंट्रोल में रहता है. Now what happens that if you write small sentence and each sentence is a separate point, what happens that examiner also is in position to see that there are suppose 10 full stops, there are 10 sentences. So why am I giving him lesser marks. So if there are 10 sentences and each point covers a separate mark, so this candidate should get 10 marks. So why he's not getting it? So analytically, the examiner has to think that this much of sentences, this number of sentences uh, should be basically given more marks to the candidate, right? So that's important. So write small sentences rather than, and you can say write small sentences with 1 or 2 points mentioned in each sentence, which makes the marker think that the candidate has offered enough points to score full mark for a requirement, right? So these were the 3 tips on narrative questions. And the 4th tip is, if you don't know anything or you don't know enough, please don't leave the question. You must write something against each question because there is no negative marking. So as there is no negative marking, in the exam, even if you write something wrong, you will get no marks. That's simple. You won't get a -1. So do not hesitate in writing things. Even if you don't know a complete requirement, you don't know exactly what you have to write, just guess an answer. Use your common sense and try to write something which you know at that time in the exam, right? So that if it gets right, you will get marks. If not right, then you won't get marks. But suppose it gets right, then what? Just imagine. You will get some easy marks. Then you're reducing your chances of getting failed, right? Okay. As there is no negative marking, do not hesitate in writing according to your common sense, even if you are not sure about what to write. Right. Now, so these were the 4 tips regarding narrative questions. Now, let me tell you some tips about the numericals. Let's talk about the numericals. Okay, please give me a minute. I'll be talking about numericals in a while. Now, in case of numericals, there are a few tips, 4 tips I want to give you regarding numericals. Number 1, the first tip is that show all the calculations. Please remember, show all the calculations, learn all the formats. Suppose you may need to make an income statement, you need to make a budget. Remember the format, right? Learn the formula, write the answer according to the, so show all the calculations according to the formula, right? So if you write the answer only, the examiner doesn't come to know that how you arrived at that answer, how you reached that answer, right? And if it goes wrong, you get no marks. But if you suppose write the working, you show what you are adding what you are multiplying, what you are deducting, what you are dividing, right? And you're picking things from accurately from the question paper, right? What happens that the examiner knows what you're doing. So suppose you have added, subtracted, or multiplied 3 or 4 things properly, but one of the figure is wrong, which makes your answer wrong. What happens? That if it is of 2 marks, if that part is of 2 marks, you at least get 1.5 marks. So examiner will be marking your answer on a piecemeal basis. The things which get right, even if the part of the answer is right, you get marks. This is all about just section C, huh? Not about, this is not about section A and B. Because in multiple choice and objective type question, either you will get the full mark or otherwise you will lose all marks. In section B, you have an opportunity to show your workings, right? And even if you do part of the question correct, you will get part of the marks. So try to show all your workings so that examiner can see that what you are adding, what you are multiplying, and even if you are adding or multiplying half of the thing or part of the thing good in a correct way, you will be getting some marks for it. So get those marks. So these part marks gets added to your total numbers and increases the marks you are getting and makes you cross the 50 mark level, right? Now, so the first step was show all the calculations, make the formats, learn them, learn the formula. Okay, now for the numericals, the first step was show all the calculations you are doing. Show the plus, minus, multiplication, division. Right? And present, learn and present the formats. Then, number 2, suppose that you are not much familiar the calculation, but you know the steps. You know the steps well, that what should be the first step, what should be the second step, what should be the third step, but you're not being able to use the numbers properly. You're not being able to use the numbers, you're not be able to pick the numbers from the question properly. Then what? Please don't leave the question completely if you're not able to solve it, right? Just go for the steps. Write the steps, that what steps you are going to follow in a particular situation, right? So suppose you know the full process, write that process. If you are not able to make workings and use the data in the question, do not leave it. Rather, write the steps needed to reach the answer. write the steps. You may get some marks, right, of writing the process. Suppose it's a 4-mark question and you have to make a format, or you have to make a you have to do 4 steps, right, in arriving at an answer. So just write those 4 steps, right? Now, remember one thing, don't do these types of questions first. Never do it first, because you'll be wasting time on it. You may not get any marks on these type of questions, right? So it is recommended, please don't do these type of questions first. Leave these type of questions, flag them, and do it in the end. Do these. So the 20 minutes I've awarded, I've given you the suggestion that use the last 20 minutes, right, for these type of things, for those MCQs, objective type questions, and section C type requirements, which you are not able to do it accurately, or you are doubtful about, you're not sure about, do it in the last 20 minutes. So do these types in the last few minutes of your exam, so that you first get the most comfortable, the most certain marks, right, that you know. So the areas which you know very well should be done first, and then afterward these type of questions which you are not sure. So you can get some 1 or 2 marks out of it, right? But you should not spend 5 or 6 minutes in these type of question and lose 3 or 4 marks somewhere else, which is at which you are very good, right? Okay, now one more tip about the numerical question is that what happens sometimes, that in case of numerical questions, they are also asking you about some analysis. They are asking to give you to write some observations from the calculations which you have already made. They want you to write some decisions. Like, for example, you have to accept a product or not. They want to know, they want to tell you, they want you to tell that which of the products will be produced first, which should not be produced, which should be made, which should be purchased, right? So they want a decision. So what happens that sometimes in hurry, we make calculations, but we do not write the comments. We do not write the decisions. So you're losing some easy marks. So obviously there can be a difference sometimes when you're getting 49. So it's not good that you are not completing all the requirements, the theoretical ones, and just doing the numerical ones. So one of the tips on calculations is that you should so it is recommended that you complete all the requirements, all the verbs in a given requirement. एक ही रिक्वायरमेंट में बाज दफा एक से ज्यादा काम करने होते हैं, ठीक है ना? तो आप उन्होंने लिखा होता है डिसाइड आफ्टर इवेल्युएटिंग, right? Calculate and decide, calculate and advise. So you miss the advice work, so you lose easy marks. Obviously, you have done the calculation and you must be knowing, and you sometimes know exactly what will be the decision, what will be the advice, but you miss it. You don't write over there. So you'll be losing some easy marks. So complete the things, right? That's important. So do complete all the verbs in a given requirement along with the calculations, like writing the decisions, advices, analysis, and comments. Remember one more thing, that as I said earlier, that making workings and calculating things takes longer time, and writing comments, analysis takes short time. But makes you win easy marks. So if you write a comment of just one line or 2 lines, you will get 1 or 2 marks, right? Now, but if you have to win 1 or 2 marks from a working, it will take a long time because you have to pick the data from the question, then calculate it, use the calculator, right? So it takes a longer time. It also entails some thinking process as well. So it's always important that you do not miss any advice, comments, analysis type things, right? Okay, now this was about section C. I hope that you have understood that how you can improve marks in section C. So reading the question well, do not leave anything, write the processes, write small sentences, make a big paragraph, make a paragraph, but with small sentences, 5 to 10 small sentences, right? Try to make paragraphs also small, right? So if there are many paragraphs, you are making the examiner think that why I'm not getting, why he's not getting full marks? Why is getting just 2 marks? If there are 4 paragraphs, he should get 4 marks if all of them are logical, if all of them are logically correct, right? Now, let me discuss the general guidelines and then we move on to the question, which is part of our today's past paper practice session. So we'll at least do a part of it, a part of that question. Now, let me give some general guidelines. So there are 5 general guidelines which I want to give. There can be many guidelines. Obviously, I'm giving the most important ones right now. So obviously, we have limited time, limiting factors, right? So management accounting involves limiting factors. Over here, I'm giving you the tips, the more important ones within the limited time. Now,
लेकिन अभी आपने मुझे क्या कहा कि मैंने 2000 रुपए दिए 2000 का आपसे दिए मैंने तो आपको 4000 रुपए से दिए शॉपिंग पे सर आपने ये बात आपने
okay, now let's discuss some general guidance. The first general guideline is try to mark the syllabus. ACCA has displayed the syllabus on its website and they have mentioned the detailed syllabus over there which they expect you to cover, right? So take a pen and just keep marking the areas they have covered over there in the syllabus. So once you keep marking, just take it as a checklist, right? So you will find some areas which you have not covered at all. You don't know about it at all, but you have some time to do it, right? So go for it and find it out in your books on Education Hub, right? And complete it, right? So in this way, you will be completing all of the syllabus. So obviously, if you complete all of the syllabus, you are getting in a better position to pass the exam, right? So now, the important thing is do the syllabus marking. Then, the second thing is learn the definitions. Learn the definition of economy, efficiency, effectiveness. Otherwise, it's very important to discuss these 3 things in the exam. If economy is different, efficiency is different. Now, one more thing which happens, that suppose you get a question on value for money. This needs you to explain these 3 things, and you don't know the definition. How will you be able to discuss these 3 things? So it's very important that you learn small definitions, right? In order to be able to express yourself properly. So in order, obviously there are many definitions in the in your syllabus. So how can you learn it? Just learn some keywords and the principles involved in it, right? Like for example, what do we mean by economy? By economy, we mean that we buy things, we obtain services, right, and give and make the products for the customers, and we provide services to the customers. But for that, we need to buy some goods and services. Those should be buy those should be purchased, right, quantity wise and reasonable quality at least cost. This is what we mean by economy, right? So what's the economy? Economy means providing a good or services to the customer, right, by buying resources at least cost. So this reduces your cost per unit. One. Then what's efficiency? Now efficiency means the best output to input ratio, the best yield, right? The wastage should be reduced. No, there should be no idle time, right? So that's efficiency. And what's effectiveness? The success rate. The effectiveness means that the customer gets satisfied with the product. So that's the difference in these three things. So you have to write it properly. In order to do this, you have to learn things, right? So learn small definitions and concepts. Then the third thing is learn the formula, not on your formula sheet. So if you forget a formula for suppose material mix variance, for operation and planning variance, how will you be able to do it correctly? So you lose easy marks. So please write down all the formula which are in your syllabus on one page and keep revising them again and again and again, right? So make a formula sheet and keep revising them again and again. And this formula sheet will also help you in the exam days. Sometimes what happens that you feel that I'm not able to remember all the formula. You can use this formula sheet to get help in the last moments, and you get comfortable at the last moment. You gain confidence that you have seen the formula at the last moments, right? Sometimes it feels like that you don't remember everything, right? And you have lost the memories, and you're not remembering the formula the last moment. So make a formula sheet. Now you will be given a formula sheet in PM in the exams, and that sheet has been given in the on the ACCA Global website. So go through it. That what formula have been given over there. It includes learning curve formula. It includes that profit maximizing price formula. So the regression formula. So go through it. That what formula have been given over there. Otherwise, make a sheet and keep revising those formula. Stick it on a wall somewhere from where you uh, uh, daily move across, and just keep reading some formulas, right? So learn the formula not given on the exam sheets, exam formula sheet. And the last general guideline, but not the least, is practice on exam platform. Please do practice on the exam platform. Log into the exam platform and do multiple questions on that. And very important that you do some questions on exam platform to get familiar with it, right? Especially those candidates who have not yet attempted any skill exam till now on the exam platform, right? So please attempt questions on the exam platform.
बाकी सारे हॉस्टल बंद हो गए हैं जहाँ से लड़कियों को आगे बर्थडे के हिसाब से जो रह के देंगे सबके हॉस्टल बंद है जो रात को लड़की आई हुई थी उनके हॉस्टल बंद हुए थे तभी वो रहने आई थी हमारा भी मतलब ज़्यादा चली गई हुई है दोपहर से, तो खाना किसने बनाया?
And one more guideline I would like to give you regarding your practice work, that for each topic at least do 2 to 3 questions so that you get a grip over the questions. Suppose you are doing a learning curve question, so do some learning curve questions. Don't do just one of them. Do different type of questions so that you get familiar with the situation. Likewise, if you're doing a variance question, planning variance, do a lot of variance questions so that you get a proper grip over those variances. So do multiple questions rather than doing only one or two. Do many questions over the same topic so you get a proper grip over them, over the formulas, over the picking of the data from the questions. You will get it properly. So now do multiple questions against each.
ऊपर से आंटी लोग कह रहे हैं
See,
कि खाना भी हमें फास्ट फूड मिलेगा,
obtain
अब खाना ही नहीं मिलना था, उन्होंने बताया
a
ही
good
नहीं।
takeover. So as I said earlier, the main tip is practice, 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 practice. So once you do practice, 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 you do mock exams. So for time management purposes, do a mock exam. So by doing a mock exam, you will be able to get acquainted with this time things, right? So you'll be able to do the time management properly. So go for at least 1 or 2 mock exams under time constraints. Get hold over time management. And remember one more thing, that if you attempt good questions first and you get some good marks first, by the end of the exam, what happens? You're left with the questions which you don't know well. So those questions were not going to get you some good marks, right? So if they are left at the end of the exam, doesn't matter, right? Guesses on it and get good marks. But you have secured the good portion of questions, good questions first, and you have secured some good marks, and you would already have been passed in the first 2 hours. Remember, setting the preference, selecting questions properly is very important. So plan your exam, do it smart. Okay, so this was all about the exam tips. So we have done this. If you can see, this was all about our exam tips today. Now let's move on to the question from the past paper which we are going to do today, and that's the question CLAN, which has been asked in the September and December quarter 2025, and that question is based on, it is testing performance measurement area from your syllabus. So let's move on to that question and try to do a bit of it, because there's a limited time available right now, so you'll not be able to do the full of them. So I'll be doing a part of it, right? So let's start with this question. The question plan is on your screen right now. Let me read the first paragraph of this question. This question is available on ACC Global website. You can read it out through there as well. Now, Clan Company's commitment to technology is evident both in its manufacturing process, which is highly automated, and also in the design of its machines. It has been a market leader in the development of the most energy efficient machines, with its Eco 10 range of machines being the most energy efficient machine available in the market. So now, one of the tips of doing these type of questions is try to read the question properly and pick some main points. Like one of the main points here, one of the main points over here is it has been a market leader. So as per question, Clan Company is a market leader. So this is a point to be noticed. Now, market leader in what? So the first point we have picked from the question is Clan is a market leader. In what? It develops most energy efficient machines. So it's making energy efficient machines with its Eco 10 range of machines being the most energy efficient machine available in the market. So this shows a competitive advantage over other competitors, right? So that was an important point. And second, Clan Company's board uses a balanced scorecard. So it's using a balanced scorecard. Now you should remember the 4 perspectives of the balanced scorecard, which involves financial, customer, internal process, and innovation and learning. Now what happens that they have given you the 4 perspectives over here in the question. They mentioned the perspectives against which they have mentioned the objectives and the measures, the ratios through which they measure the performance. So the objectives of the financial performance are sustained growth. Sustained growth means that sales should keep on increasing, the number of customers should keep on increasing, right? So this is the growth. Maintain profitability means that they save a lot from their revenues, right? Their cost is in control, a good profit margin they earn. So how do they measure it? So sustained growth is measured by them through revenue growth. And then maintain profitability is one of their objectives, financial objectives, which they measure through operating profit in millions, dollars in million. Now, the second perspective is customer perspective. First objective of customer perspective is strengthen market position, the market share percentage, and the second objective is delight customers. How they measure it? They measure it through percentage of customers who recommend Clan. Now, in the same way, they have mentioned you the business process, the third perspective. Third perspective's objective is reduce machine downtime, to reduce the machine breakdowns, reduce the defect rates, means they want to make the products without any defects, maintaining quality, reduce the reworks. So how they measure it? Machine downtime hours. So lower machine downtime hours reducing over the time means the internal process is improving. The percentage of manufactured machines with defects. So less machines with manufacturing defects means they are improving their internal business process, their manufacturing process, right? Which indicates improved performance. And then the innovation and learning perspective. The goals are increase productivity, promote innovation, and they can be measured through average output per employee. This is the measurement of productivity. And promote innovation means selling or producing more of the newer technology rather than the older ones. So eco 10 machines as a percentage of the total machines produced. So eco 10 is a new technology. So new technology machines as a percentage of the machines produced in all overall. So that's basically there are the basically 4 perspectives which are being covered. Now, this table was given in the question, financial information. So the point to be noted was that this table covers 2005, information related to 2005, and information related to 2004. So what should have been done over here? A main key factor in performance measurement is that you have to compare the numbers for the current year with either the prior years or with the industry average or with the competitors, right? Or with the budgets. So without comparison, you can't come to know that the numbers for this time, the facts, the information, the data for this time, right, shows improvement or not, or it shows deficiency or deterioration. So in order to know whether the performance is good or not, we need to compare it with something, right? For example, comparing 2005 with 2004. So if you look over here, the sales, the revenues in 2005 is lower than 2004. It is lower by how much? It is minus 9.1%. So the company has lost some sales. The sales has reduced in 2005. So this basically looks like a bad performance, but not necessary. It should be compared with something else as well, like what's happening in the industry, what's happening globally. So if globally the performance is reducing and it's 20%, and this is just 9%, so this is good. So a lesser decline compared to the international market or the whole market in which this business operates indicates a good sign. So it's not enough to just see that the sales of one entity or a business of one business is reducing. It's important to compare it with what's happening all around, what's happening with other competitors and the industry, right? So over here in performance measurement, you need to understand one thing, that if profits of a company is reduced, right? If sales of a company has reduced, we need to see that what has happened to others in the industry. The others industry may have been facing a very, very worst situation, right? And they have lost profit by a very high percentage compared to that with this entity which you are observing, right? So that's important. And that can also be happen, and it can also be happen that if you are gaining the profits, others would have gained a lot more than you. So it's important that you compare with the external parties as well. It's not enough that you compare with your previous year figures or your budgets. You should compare it with external data as well. So that's what also required over here, right? In this question regarding financial information. Now, let's move on to the non-financial data. Now, non-financial in this question, they have covered financial information plus non-financial information. This is all about non-financial information. You need to plus just go through it. This section covers the non-financial information. Please read this out so that and observe what's happening in 2005 compared to 2004. And then we need to compare it with the external parties as well, the happenings in the industry as well. so that we can compare the changes in this company with the changes outside the company, changes happening in the industry. So we can so that we can get a better view of its performance. Now, after looking at the financial information and non-financial information, okay, now an important exam tip I want to give you over here is that first we should read the requirements. In order to pick the data, relevant data, and save some time, we should first always read the requirements first. So what are the requirements? The requirement A was using the template provided, calculate the performance measures for the year 30th June 2025 and the prior year figures for the year to 30th June 2024. And the requirement B is using the performance measures given in Clan Company Balance Scorecard, your calculations from Part A, analyze Clan Company's performance for the year to 30th June 2005. Okay. Okay, now as we have gone through the requirements, there are two requirements. First requirement is we have to calculate some missing figures. So if you look at this template, which was being given in the exam, there are certain blanks in it. यहाँ पे देखें आप कुछ blanks हैं. 2005 में देखें ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट डॉलर्स इन मिलियन फाइंड करना है और 2004 में भी डॉलर्स इन मिलियन ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट फाइंड करना है. इसके अलावा 2005 में वी हैव टू फाइंड मार्केट शेयर एंड 2004 एज वेल. तो मार्केट शेयर का फॉर्मूला पता होना चाहिए हमें. ठीक है, तो यूजुअली मार्केट शेयर क्या होता है? एक कंपनी ने कितने प्रोडक्ट्स बेचे आउट ऑफ द टोटल प्रोडक्ट्स बीइंग सोल्ड इन द होल मार्केट. तो अगर 50 सप्लायर्स हैं, ठीक है ना, तो 50 सप्लायर्स ने कितनी सेल्स की वो डिनोमिनेटर में आएगा. और न्यूमरेटर में क्या आएगा कि क्लेन ने कितनी सेल की, दैट गिव्स यू द मार्केट शेयर मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 100, राइट. तो परसेंटेज में आपके पास आ जाएगा. तो दिस इज व्हाट रिक्वायर्ड. तो इफ यू डोंट नो दिस फॉर्मूला, मार्केट शेयर का मीनिंग क्लियर होना चाहिए क्योंकि बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट इज सिलेबस. ओके, इसके बाद डाउन टाइम आवर्स गिवन है और आपको फाइंड करना है परसेंटेज ऑफ मैन्युफैक्चर मशीन्स विद डिफेक्ट्स. सिंपल क्या फॉर्मूला होना चाहिए? परसेंटेज ऑफ मैन्युफैक्चर्ड मशीन्स विद डिफेक्ट्स. इसका मतलब जो डिफेक्टेड मशीन्स है वो न्यूमरेटर में और जो तमाम मशीन्स प्रोड्यूस हुई हैं ड्यूरिंग अ ईयर बाय क्लेम वो डिनोमिनेटर. तो दोनों सालों के लिए कैलकुलेट करना है ताकि हम आपस में क्या कर सकें, 2005 में क्या परफॉर्मेंस रही और 2004 में क्या परफॉर्मेंस उसको मेजर कर सकें. ठीक है ना. और ये भी देखना होगा अगेन, जैसे मैंने पहले कहा कि इफ वी हैव global information or we have given some industry knowledge in the question, so we have to compare these percentage or these numbers with that industry information as well, or comparative information as well, so that we can compare with external parties as well in order to know that how well we are performing against them. So it's not enough that we are performing in-house. We are improving our performance in-house. We should perform better against others as well, right, in order to reach the peak of the market, in order to reach the climax, right, in order to win a big market share. Okay, now innovation and learning, we need to find average output machines per employee. So over here, what should be the formula? एवरेज आउटपुट machines per employee. So machines per employee, the formula is given. Machines in the numerator, per employee means employees in the denominator. So this is how we find the numbers, right? So now let's calculate these figures. So I have displayed some workings down there on this Excel sheet to save some time. So first of all, just look at the information given in this table as per question. तो क्वेश्चन के हिसाब से जो इंफॉर्मेशन दी हुई है उसमें आप देखें रेवेन्यू दिया हुआ है, ऑपरेटिंग कॉस्ट दी हुई है और डेप्रेशन दिया हुआ है। ये माइनस करेंगे ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट आ जाएगा। तो पहली रिक्वायरमेंट जो थी 2004 और 2005 में जो फाइंड करना है वो ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट है, डॉलर्स इन मिलियन, वो आ जाएगा आपके पास, ठीक है। इसके बाद जो नेक्स्ट हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट थी मार्केट शेयर। तो मार्केट शेयर के लिए क्या करोगे कि आप देखेंगे कि टोटल ओवरऑल सेल्स कितनी थी। तो इनकी जो सेल्स है क्लेन लिमिटेड सेल्स, फर्स्ट पिक दो सेल्स और डिवाइड करेंगे उस सेल्स को हम किससे, जो पूरी पूरी ग्लोबल मार्केट के अंदर जो सेल्स हुई है उस पूरी इंडस्ट्री की जो सेल्स है, सेम प्रोडक्ट्स बेचने वालों की सेल्स। तो मार्केट शेयर मींस कि आप कितनी सेल्स कर रहे हैं और पूरी इंडस्ट्री में जो सेम सिमिलर प्रोडक्ट्स बेच रहे हैं वो लोग कितना सेल्स कर रहे हैं। तो 1,17,995 दिस नीड्स टू बी डिवाइडेड बाय, इन्होंने दिया हुआ है द ग्लोबल रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम द न्यू मशीन, नोट्स में दिस डेटा इज बीइंग प्रोवाइडेड इन द नोट्स। Over here they have told you that 30th June 25 the global sales was 1,634 million, and in 2004 the global sales was 1815308. So from here you can note one more thing, एक और चीज आप नोट कर लें इस डेटा से, और वो ये कि जो इनकी सेल्स है ग्लोबली वो भी कम हुई है। तो क्लेन की सेल्स तो कम हुई है लेकिन जो इंडस्ट्री वाइज सेल्स है सेम सिमिलर प्रोडक्ट्स बेचने वालों की वो भी कम हुई है। और अगर आप परसेंटेज वाइज नोट करेंगे तो जो इंडस्ट्री वाइज सेल्स कम हुई है वो उसका परसेंटेज ज्यादा है, क्लेन की इतनी सेल्स ड्रॉप नहीं हुई है। क्लेन का जो डिक्लाइन है वो टेबल में दिया हुआ है एंड दैट्स क्लेन का डिक्लाइन 9.1% है जो आप यहाँ देख सकते हैं। और अगर आप इसका डिक्लाइन निकालेंगे तो डिक्लाइन कैसे निकालते हो परसेंटेज, जस्ट थिंक अबाउट कैसे डिक्लाइन निकलना चाहिए। तो 1815308 ये लास्ट टाइम की सेल्स थी, इसमें से ये माइनस कर दो तो डिफरेंस आ जाएगा, द ड्रॉप इन सेल्स आ जाएगी। एंड देन you divide that drop in sales by the previous year sales which was 1815308 million, so you get the drop in the sales, right? तो डिफरेंस निकालते हैं और पिछले साल से डिवाइड करके फिर 100 से मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं, you get the drop in sales. So in this way you get the decline in the industry sales. Okay, now मार्केट शेयर आ गया आपके पास, ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट आ गया। इसके बाद डाउन टाइम आर्स गिवन है, परसेंटेज ऑफ मैन्युफैक्चर्ड मशीन विद डिफेक्ट्स, ये कैसे निकालेंगे उसके लिए हम डेटा यूज कर लेते हैं। यहाँ टोटल मशीन्स देखें उन्होंने कितनी बनाई हैं और डिफेक्टेड मशीन्स कितनी हैं, ये पिक कर लें पहले। तो मशीन्स विद डिफेक्ट्स 2004 में 29,322 थी और क्लैन कंपनी हैज मैन्युफैक्चर्ड 42,49600 मशीन्स। Now, machines with defects in 2005 were 24,000. And the total machines produced were this much. So defected machines numerator में और total machines denominator multiply by 100, right? न्यू आ जाएगा. Okay, now ये हमने कुछ calculate कर लिए हैं. You can note it down. This working has been done. So you can see the sales given in the question was 117,995. Operating cost excluding depreciation was 99,528, and less the depreciation gives you 8,682. And the sales in 25 was this much, less the operating cost depreciation gives you 8,150. So this was the operating profit, right, required in the question. And then the global revenue was this much, 1,815,308, as I showed you in the information above. Now, in order to calculate the market share, you have to divide 117 by this. So divide this 117,995 by 1,815,308 and 107,209 by this. You get 6.5% for 2004 and 6.7% for 2005. Now, what this show? Let's discuss the effects as well. The market share has increased. So despite of the fact that the sales has increased, despite of the fact that the sales has decreased, for Clen, the sales has decreased, but and that by 9.1% it has decreased. But the market share has increased, which shows a good sign. So for the management of the company, this is a good sign that despite of the fact the sales is dropping, the market share is increasing, which shows competitiveness. They're getting stronger in the market. They're holding a better grip over the market. And secondly, if you see that the sales, let's compute this ratio, that what has happened globally, the global decline in sales. So if we calculate global decline in sales, 1,815,308 was the sales in 2004, and now it is 1,600,134 million. So the difference of these two numbers is 1,418,4,826. Okay. The difference is the decline is this much. Now, the percentage of decline in sales in the global market should be 215174 divided by the sales in 2004. We will take the previous year sales as a base figure, right? 1,815,308, and then multiply this by 100. This gives you the percentage. So what's the decline percentage? So the decline percentage is approximately 11 point. So it's approximately 12%. And if we take it for till 2 decimal places, it is 11.85. तो जो ग्लोबल सेल्स में डिक्लाइन आया है वो 11.85% का है, और इनका जो डिक्लाइन है सेल्स में वो सिर्फ 9.1% है. तो अगर हम इस पे कमेंट लिखेंगे, ऑब्वियसली द कमेंट इज दैट the sales has dropped by 9.1%. ये 9.1% गिवन है यहाँ पे 2005 के अंदर। तो क्लाइंट की सेल्स 9.1% डिक्लाइन हुई है, लेकिन ग्लोबली जो है वो क्या हुआ है कि देयर इज अ डिक्लाइन ऑफ 11.85%, राइट। लेट्स राइट अ कमेंट ऑन दिस फाइनेंशियल पर्सपेक्टिव। अच्छा, दूसरा पॉइंट ये है कि जो ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट है उस पर भी हम कमेंट लिखेंगे, क्योंकि अब देखें, हमें जो कमेंट लिखना है उसमें ख्याल ये रखना है कि फाइनेंशियल परफॉर्मेंस इंक्लूड्स टू ऑब्जेक्टिव, सस्टेन ग्रोथ। तो जाहिर है कि सेल्स तो कम हो गई होगी, तो ग्रोथ तो नहीं हुई सेल्स की, नेगेटिव, बट मार्केट शेयर क्या हो गया, वो बढ़ गया। ठीक है, तो कस्टमर मार्केट पोजीशन के साथ मार्केट शेयर बढ़ गया। ठीक है, लेकिन अगेन फाइनेंशियल परफॉर्मेंस अगर हम ये देखें कि सेल्स गिर गई है कंपनी की, लेकिन ग्लोबली 11.9% गिरी है और इनकी 9.1% गिरी है, तो दे आर बेटर, राइट। तो अगेन इंडस्ट्री से कंपेयर करने से क्या हो रहा है, ज्यादा मीनिंगफुल डेटा हमें मिल गया। और प्लस मेंटेन प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी में ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट कम हुआ है, लेकिन आप एक चीज देखें, ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट तो कम होगा, सेल्स कम हुई है तो, राइट। तो ठीक है, ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट कम हो गया, लेकिन आप ये देखें सेल्स कितनी कम हुई है, 9.1%, बट द ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट हैज डिक्लाइंड बाय जस्ट 6.1%, which indicates a better control over the expenses. So let's write an answer to this financial objective in our tonight's session, and then we will finish the session for today and continue with in the next session, inshallah. So now let's talk about the profitability. Remember, as I said, write small sentences, each sentence carrying 1 point or maximum 2 points, and make a paragraph of too many small sentences, right? So that the examiner notices that you have written too many points. तो अगर बहुत सारे पॉइंट लिखे होंगे तो obviously you should get marks. तो एग्जामिनर देखता ना एक एक पॉइंट बढ़ता जा रहा है तो मार्क्स मिलते जाने चाहिए। तो प्रॉफिट फाइनेंशियल परफॉर्मेंस पे हम लिख लेते हैं कमेंट। एक और इसमें टिप ये है कि नैरेटिव क्वेश्चन में हेडिंग्स लिखे आप, राइट, गो फॉर हेडिंग्स। हेडिंग्स लिखे हैं तो एग्जामिनर के लिए इजी हो जाता है आंसर को इंटरप्रेट करना, आपके लिए भी लिखना आसान होता है। ठीक है ना। तो इन केस ऑफ फाइनेंशियल परफॉर्मेंस सबसे पहले हम बात कर रहे थे सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ। सो आई रिटन हेडिंग ओवर हियर, और दूसरा क्या था, प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी। अब एज आई सेड अर्लियर दैट क्वेश्चन से लिंक करें चीजें, वो भी आपको बताता हूँ कैसे लिंक करना है, और एग्जामिनर को कैसे पता चलता है कि आप क्वेश्चन को जो है वो लिंक कर रहे हैं या नहीं कर रहे हैं। तो सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ में आपने ये लिखना था कि ऑल्दो द कंपनीज sales has declined by 9.1% since last year, but the decline is seen to be lower than the global loss of sales since last year, which was 11.85%, राइट। तो ग्लोबल मार्केट से कम डिक्लाइन है। अब देखें, मैंने कहा था आपको छोटे छोटे सेंटेंस यूज कर, तो जैसे क्या क्या हो सकता है, ऑल्दो द कंपनी की जगह हमने इसमें स्मॉल कर देना है। सेंटेंस सॉल्व करके दिखाता हूं आपको। द कंपनी सेल्स हैज डिक्लाइंड बाय 9%, 9.1% सिंस लास्ट ईयर। ये आ गया एक सेंटेंस, छोटा सेंटेंस हो गया। अब दिस डिक्लाइन is seen to be lower than the global loss of sales since last year, which was 11.85%. तो अब अगर ग्लोबल सेल्स में डिक्लाइन ज्यादा है और इनका कम है, इसका मतलब इन्होंने मार्केट शेयर क्या कर लिया, गेन कर लिया। इनके पास से इतने कस्टमर्स कम नहीं हुए, इनके पास इतनी सेल्स कम नहीं हुई जितनी दूसरों के पास से कम हुई है। जाहिर है दूसरों के पास ज्यादा डिक्लाइन है ना, 11.85 पे 12%, और टोटल इंडस्ट्री के अंदर इनके पास 9% है, तो इन्होंने अपनी सेल्स थोड़ी सी होल्ड की है ज्यादा। तो अब ये बेसिकली क्या हुआ, जिस जो क्वेश्चन के साथ चल रहा है वो डिक्लाइन को लिंक कर रहा है किसके साथ, ग्लोबल मार्केट के साथ। तो ये इंडिकेट कर रहा है एग्जामिनर को कि ये सिनेरियो को यूज कर रहा है। ड्यू टू दिस अब क्या हुआ, क्लेन हैज मैनेज्ड टू improve इट्स मार्केट शेयर। आपस में भी चीजें क्या हो गई, लिंक हो गई। तो इफ देयर इज अ लिंक amongst different perspectives or variables, we should make a link if we can make, तो उसके एक्स्ट्रा मार्क्स मिल रहे हैं हमको, राइट। तो ये सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ का एक अच्छा हेल्दी आपके पास आंसर आ गया, यू गेट इजी मार्क्स फ्रॉम इट। अब ये 2 मार्क्स मैंने यहाँ पे क्या कर लिए, गेन कर लिए। तो देखो आप मार्क्स कितने थे इसके, तो मार्किंग ग्रिड को भी अगर हम देखें यहाँ पे, तो दे आर गिविंग यूजिंग द परफॉर्मेंस मेजर गिवन इन क्लैन कंपनीज बैलेंस स्कोर कार्ड, वो तो हमने कैलकुलेट कर लिया, वो 5 मार्क्स का था, राइट। और अब जो इसमें 15 मार्क्स का और 4 पर्सपेक्टिव है, तो अगर आप ब्रेक करें, 4 पर्सपेक्टिव में 8 मेजर्स दिए हुए थे। अगर इस चार्ट को देखें तो बेसिकली वी हैड टू कवर दिस चार्ट, दिस फुल चार्ट, दिस चार्ट वाज द की टू दिस आंसर, राइट। तो इस चार्ट में इन्होंने 4 पर्सपेक्टिव दिए हुए और 8 मेजर्स दिए हुए। ये 8 आपके पास मेजर्स आ गए, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 और 8। इसका मतलब आपने 2-2 मार्क्स गैदर करने हैं इन पे कमेंट करने के लिए, और एक एक रेशियोज अगर आप कोई और निकालते जाएं साथ साथ, ठीक है, या रेशियोज को यूज करते जाएं, तो यू कैन गेट बेटर मार्क्स। जैसे मैंने एक रेशियो निकाला वो ग्लोबल सेल्स का 11.85% जो गिवन नहीं था, तो डेट गेट्स मी 1 मोर मार्क, राइट, इजीली। और फिर मैंने आपस में कंपेयर किया और मैंने किसको देखा, रेवेन्यू ग्रोथ का, तो एक रेशियो निकाला नया में। और फिर मैंने जो ग्लोबल सेल्स में डिक्लाइन था 11.85, उसको कंपेयर किया किसके साथ, इंडिविजुअल सेल्स के साथ। तो दैट मेक्स मी गेट 1 मोर मार्क। तो 2 मार्क्स मेरे क्या हो गए, वो पक्के हो गए यहाँ पे। अब आ गए ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट पे। ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट में 2 मार्क्स लेने, ठीक है ना, ब्रेकअप तो समझ गए। 8 रेशियोज और 15 मार्क्स, तो अप्रोक्सीमेटली हर के 2-2 मार्क्स है। तो इसमें कोई एक आध रेशियो अगर आप कैलकुलेट कर सकते हो फर्दर, और फर्दर कोई कमेंट कर सकते हो, तो यू विल गेट स्टार्ट गेटिंग मार्क्स। तो दैट वाज द स्कीम बेसिकली, हाउ कैन यू गेट। और इसमें पूरे मार्क्स आएंगे, इसमें मार्क्स अगर आपने सही लिखा है, सब कंसाइज और बिल्कुल एक्यूरेट सही चीजें लिखी हुई हैं, तो यू विल गेट फुल मार्क्स। तो इसमें पूरे 20 मार्क्स लिए जा सकते थे इस क्वेश्चन के। ओके, अब प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी का कमेंट क्या आ रहा है, तो प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी इनके जो रिक्वायर्ड था वो ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट था, तो ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट तो कम हो गया, यू कैन सी 8682 से कम होके 8150 आ गया, जो कि 6.1% डिक्लाइन। बट अगेन द ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट, तो अब इसमें एक और चीज ध्यान रखें कि मैं ऑब्जर्वेशन लिखता हूँ पहले, एक ऑब्जर्वेशन लिखते हैं और फिर ऑब्जर्वेशन को किसी और चीज से, किसी टारगेट से, लास्ट ईयर से, प्रीवियस ईयर से कंपेयर करते हैं या उसकी रीजनिंग करते हैं, तो आपको एडिशन मार्क्स मिलने शुरू हो जाता है। तो ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट हैज डिक्लाइन सिंस 2000 X4, which was mainly, क्यों हुआ ऐसा, रिलेशनशिप तो होना चाहिए ना कोई। ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट कम क्यों हो गया, सेल्स क्या हो गई, डिक्लाइन हुई, विच वॉज मेनली ड्यू टू डिक्लाइन इन सेल्स एंड, एक सेंटेंस हम यहाँ पे एंड करते हैं। अब दूसरा पॉइंट क्या है यहाँ पे, अब एक और चीज नोट करें कि सेल्स कितनी ड्रॉप हुई है, 9.1%, और एक्सपेंस कितना ड्रॉप हुआ है, और प्रॉफिट कितना ड्रॉप हुआ है, एक्सपेंस तो बढ़ा है, तो ये सब हमें देखना पड़ेगा। तो एक्सपेंस जो है वो भी कम हो गया, ऑपरेटिंग कॉस्ट। डेप्रिसिएशन एक्सपेंस बढ़ गया। डेप्रिसिएशन एक्सपेंस बढ़ने का मतलब न्यू मशीन्स परचेस की होंगी, सेल्स गिरने के बावजूद न्यू मशीन्स परचेस करते हैं। अब क्योंकि ये तो एफिशिएंट मशीन्स बनाते हैं, ठीक है, और मार्केट लीडर है, तो ये ध्यान में रखना जरूरी है कि नई टेक्नोलॉजी के थ्रू एफिशिएंसी को बढ़ाते होंगे, प्रोडक्टिविटी को बढ़ाते होंगे, तो अल्टीमेटली डेप्रिसिएशन बढ़ रही है, ठीक है। लेकिन कॉस्ट क्या हो रही होगी, वो कम हो रही होगी, ऑपरेटिंग कॉस्ट कम हो रही होगी, कॉस्ट एफिशिएंसी बढ़ रही है उनकी, कॉस्ट पर यूनिट कम हो रही होगी। जब भी वो सब कस्टमर्स को क्या कर सकते हैं, सस्ता बेच सकते हैं, राइट। तो एफिशिएंसी कस्टमर कस्टमर के लिए हुआ ना, कि कस्टमर जो है वो नई टेक्नोलॉजी के थ्रू एफिशिएंट चीजें गेन कर सकता है, और वो अपने पैसे बचा सकता है, मेंटेनेंस कॉस्ट, फ्यूल कॉस्ट वगैरह सेव कर सकता है। तो ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट हैज डिक्लाइंड सिंस 2004 व्हिच वाज मेनली ड्यू टू डिक्लाइन सेल्स। अब इसका इफेक्ट क्या है, ठीक है। इट कैन बी ऑब्जर्व दैट, सॉरी एक मिनट दीजिएगा, बैटरी लो हो रही है। ओके, it can be observed that although okay, it can be observed that although the operating profit has declined by 6.1%, there is a very large, yeah, there is a larger decline in sales. That is how much? 9.1%. तो अगर 9.1% सेल्स में डिक्लाइन हुआ है, तो ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट में भी 9% डिक्लाइन आना चाहिए था, लेकिन कम है। तो क्या शो करता है, कोई रीजन आता है? ऑब्जर्वेशन तो आगे 1 मार्क मिल गया आपको ऑब्जर्व करने का, कि सेल्स 6.1 कम हो, तो गिवन नहीं है क्वेश्चन के अंदर। अच्छा, अब अगर आप ये लिखते हैं ना कि 6.1% सेल्स में डिक्लाइन आ गया, ठीक है, तो आपको कोई मार्क नहीं मिलेगा, क्योंकि वो तो पहले से क्वेश्चन में गिवन है। तो मेन चीज क्या है कि मैं उसको कंपेयर कर रहा हूँ किसके साथ, 9.1% सेल्स के साथ, उसका मुझे मार्क मिल जाएगा, ठीक है। तो 9.1% सेल्स में डिक्लाइन हो और प्रॉफिट में सिर्फ 6.1 हो, इसका मतलब इनका कॉस्ट पे क्या है, कंट्रोल है। इंडिकेट्स a better control by Glenn over operating cost. Right? So this was basically a comment on फाइनेंशियल परफॉर्मेंस। तो इसमें मुझे अब 4 मार्क्स लेने थे, तो अब इजीली गेन्ड 4 मार्क्स ओवर हियर। अब बहुत ज्यादा लिखने की जरूरत भी नहीं पड़ी, बस आपने क्या करना है, प्रॉपरली सिचुएशन को क्या करना है, एक्सप्लॉइट करना है। तो आई हैव एक्सप्लॉइटेड द सिचुएशन प्रॉपरली एंड गॉट द मार्क्स। इसके बाद फिर मैं लिखूंगा नेक्स्ट किस पे, कस्टमर पर्सपेक्टिव पे, मार्केट शेयर वाली बात, ठीक है। इस तरह आगे एक एक करके ऑब्जेक्टिव और उसके हिसाब से रेशियोज के हिसाब से मैं उस पर कमेंट करता जाऊंगा, फिर इंटरनल पर्सपेक्टिव, उसके बाद इनोवेशन। So in that way, I get the whole 15 marks, right? So that's all for today. This is how we will tackle a question to get full marks. So I'll give you some guidance. इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट क्लास में फिर नेक्स्ट टॉपिक पर बात करेंगे। थैंक यू, अल्लाह हाफिज़।